I'm strictly analog, so no slides from me today, but I will be referring to my notes, so forgive me if I'm not looking so much at you as down at my notes. But so yeah, as Henry said, I'm Justin Champagn, and I've actually been part of the Research Advocate Programme since its inception, really, in 2012, 2013. I got involved originally with Target when my brother and I did a sponsored bike ride. We did the London to Brighton in 2011, and it was actually our mum who had the sudden, unexpected, typical diagnosis in 2005, and she'd redirected us to Target away from the fact that we were just going to give our sponsorship money to one of the larger kind of generic cancer charities. So she actually, as it happened, she passed away 5 days after my brother and I finished the ride. So kind of the last thing that either of us had was a text to say how proud she was of us. And really kind of on the back of that and as a result of the invitation that came through from Target, I kind of wanted to do something which was as meaningful as meaningful as possible in her name. And honestly, at this point in time, I think, you know, becoming the research advocate is as far as I'm concerned, is every bit as important as and relevant as doing kind of sponsored events in the first place. So I haven't raised any sponsorship directly since that bike ride, but I feel as though I'm doing my small part. And of course it is the other end of that. You know, the fundraising activities are absolutely amazing, and I'm sure that, like me, it's key, and I think it's important that each of the research advocates actually considers our role as though we're almost like we're spending our own money. And I think, you know, from conversations I've had, I think everyone does that at this stage. You know, from the altruistic side of things, I would actually like to be able to reach my old age and be able to say that I actually made a difference. You know, I want to have been able to play some small part in better awareness, in earlier diagnoses, more effective treatment. And I actually genuinely believe, hopefully it's right as well, that my involvement by giving some of my time to Target on a regular basis will actually be beneficial. So the key thing is that, you know, from my perspective, is every one of these events or discussion forums where I spend time with women, sometimes the partners, they're on their own journey, but everyone continues to inspire me, as my mum did, with positivity, courage, spirit, and the bravery just to carry on fighting, because I know exactly how awful it is for some of you guys. The Research Advocate Programme adds a layer of independent thought, essentially, you know, as Henry touched on, and consideration to some of the key areas that Target is involved in. I'm not medical. I am just a project manager for a large technology company who happen to be highly engaged in corporate social responsibility. So maybe that's the point. You know, Henry said maybe that wasn't the right turn of phrase, but we're lay people, almost just another passerby. But we have different and relevant experiences where we've seen or experienced firsthand the effects of either disease or the treatment of it, kind of how it affects people. So we have a perspective which it's not necessarily overlooked, but it's different from that of you know, all the incredible clinicians who are involved in the hunt to solve this particular problem. So what do we do? I had written that I've been involved in 3 key areas up to this point. Obviously today is the 4th, because I haven't done one of these public speaking events before. But what we do to start with is we review the research grant applications. So I've been involved in a couple of rounds of funding at this point. And the application form is specifically designed to give an understanding to the layperson of the concept or the idea to be funded. So it has to be in plain English. We have to be able to understand it, otherwise we kind of almost say send it back for a rewrite or reject it. You know, that has to contain what it is, how it will be conducted, and what the expected outcomes are. So at least we have an understanding of exactly what it's meant to be. As it happens, I'm very, very infamous at work for being really picky. And because I'm a project manager, I've got a good head for budgets, numbers, that kind of thing. So I nose around the whole application, whether I understand it or not, just looking for flaws and to see whether anything's actually gone awry in what I would consider how it should be conducted, I suppose, from at least a planning perspective. And then in my case, you know, as I said, I think my professional life actually adds the dimension to the thought process as well as my own personal experience. So from initial read and review, I give my comments to Target, and that helps them to at least form a view of the best candidates to be shortlisted. Now, I've worked both times I've done reviews both times in palliative stuff, but I've also read some of the translational as well. They're amazing things, but once they're selected, it's a meeting or a conference call with individuals such as Anwin, such as Henry, who we meet, discuss, and basically everyone, it's a roundtable discussion where all the views and all the opinions are treated with equal importance. So as lay reviewers, you know, the rise of us is, and our input is actually seemingly rather important at this point in time, and I think that's important. So the other part of the funding process is that I have visited a couple of the successfully funded projects, both at Oxford and Cambridge, to see what the output is. And, you know, it's almost to see, okay, what advances have come from the research and done, but also other stuff that may have arisen as a result of that funded application. And that helps me in understanding better terms where the science isn't impenetrable, because it quite often is, what advances are being made, and it gives me a little bit more understanding of disease in all its forms, and also it helps me kind of build a better knowledge for any future applications. So the second of the kind of key activities is kind of provide feedback and proofreading for documentations being prepared for independent studies. So soccer was mentioned and rockets. I did provide some feedback for that probably 15 months or so ago. And it's more than anything in that case, it's adding just a human touch. It's saying, okay, well here's something that's been written by a scientist. Can we as human beings just make it a little bit more rounded, a little bit less scary to somebody who looks to join the plan? Sorry, the project. And then lastly and most recently, and this is the really interesting one I suppose, well they all are, we were invited to a forum to review and discuss Target's research strategy. So is the strategy as it stands at this moment in time still right and relevant? Is a change in direction required? Essentially, it was just to try and understand whether the hard-earned sponsorship and bucket rattling on cold winter mornings could or should be differently spent. So, currently there are 2 key grants. Keep me honest here, I think it's 2. And really it's one for translational research, one for palliative care, and what could be done differently in the expectation of better outcomes, and that's kind of it. So there you have it, 10-minute rundown. I think it was 10 minutes. Am I still in time, Henry? Okay, thank you. 10 minutes as a research advocate, and I would say that I know that Target are looking for additional people to join the group. So I'd recommend it to anyone. It's fantastic. I think it's a great way to spend my time and do something a little bit different. So if you want to get involved, get in touch with one of the team. That's me. Thank you.